You are visiting with the City of Westminster. Are we on?
It actually is on, believe it or not.
Okay, good. All right, so we're with the City of Westminster Historic District Commission, Wednesday, November 5th at 6 p.m. at Emerald Hill in City Hall. I'm going to call us to order with our statement of authority. The Westminster Historic District Commission derives its authority from Chapter 164, Article 9 of the City Code, which is authorized by the Code of Annotated Code, Land Use Article Division 1, Single Jurisdiction Planning and Zoning, Title 8, Historic Preservation. The qualifications of the Westminster Historic District Commission are on file at the City Administration Building, 45 West Main Street, and the file is open to the public. I'd like to do a quick roll call so we all know who we are.
Chris Amadori, Kathy Beatty,
Chris McMaster's chair.
Joe Atkins.
Melissa Thorne, city staff.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, so tonight we have a pretty simple agenda. And we're going to start with old business, which is a post-construction application for the historic rehabilitation of tax credit for 205 East Main Street rear, TC 25-02. Ms. Thorne, would you like to start off our discussion this evening?
Sure, I'd love to. I'm actually pulling up a quick screen share for the folks that online so we can see. It'll be this one. We're gonna switch. And it's this one. Nope. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. So we're here tonight to talk about the historic rehabilitation property tax credit post-construction application TC 2502 for 205 East Main Street. And on March 5th, of this year, the commission reviewed this application for pre-construction and found that the proposed work was eligible work under section 143-5B. Number 2, that JFJ and Sons Construction, Restoration and Remodeling LLC's estimate of $89,244 was acceptable. And number 3, that the property was an eligible property. Furthermore, the commission granted the preliminary approval of the historic tax credit certificate of eligibility for TC 2502 in the amount of $8,924.40, which is consistent with our city code section 143-5B. On March 14th, 2025, the city received a letter from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development upon a review by the Maryland Historical Trust on the scope of the work. And it was determined that the department found that the undertaking will have no adverse effect on historic properties. And later on October 1st, 2025, the applicant submitted their post-construction application for historic rehabilitation property tax credits in the amount of $89,244. The work was completed on May 10th, 2025, which was within our 24 months after preliminary approval was granted. And the final project that was completed by JFJ and Sons Construction was to remove the existing damaged, loose, and bulged ephes, replacing it as necessary, installing flashing, installing new caulking and backer rods, aquaflash and mesh in certain areas, rebuilding this ephes system, and installing base coats with fiber mesh and paint. So tonight, staff recommends that the commission review the post-construction application and other documentation provided by the applicant of 205 East Main Street to determine, number 1, whether the completed work is eligible and in accordance with the preliminary approval, and number 2, the original approved amount for the tax credit of $8,924.40 is acceptable. Tonight we have Deborah here to provide any answers to questions that you might have, and we have 3 draft motions available.
Great. So Deborah, did Ms. Thorne pretty much represent what happened in your understanding?
yes.
Do you have any concerns or questions that may have popped up during the project?
No, it was a very smooth project.
I have 2 questions. One I always ask. Did you have any change orders or cost overruns you did not expect, or were they able to stick to their agreement with you?
There was that agreement. We did find some other things that happened that led to other contracts with them, our roof, that kind of thing, but that, as far as that project, it was dollar for dollar.
Okay, great. And then the second question I have is, unfortunately for you, I live in the neighborhood. So I was watching the construction and I think I saw brick behind the stucco. And I did ask someone early on if they took a picture for us just for the file. Did you find that to be the case? It's a brick structure below?
I believe so. I think there used to be a garage, so I definitely know there was brick and then maybe some wood filling in like a bay area.
Interesting. Do you know if those pictures were ever taken during?
They were, and they were shared.
Oh, good.
It's just been such a long time, I think, that it might not be on top lines, you know what I mean? So I can confirm there was some brick there, but I don't have pictures of that here tonight. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just for the record, because you know, that part of town, you're in danger of hitting log structures. And, you know, I'm always curious, how much is log, how much is brick? My hope is that's brick. That means I'm guessing right on the time zone of that house.
There's been debate about it there. Because if you look at the old pictures of the main court, you can see that this was a 3-story brick building next to it. And so there was the rumor that they demolished that entire building and built this one out of stucco.
Oh.
And then there was the version where they just took the 3rd floor off and covered what was left with stucco. So it's nice to confirm that the original brick structure's under there.
And how often do you get to do that? Once every 75 years when the stucco needs to be fixed. And this was sort of our chance to take a good look. Yeah, and I'll be around to be curious about it for sure. Alrighty, well, thank you. Do our commissioners have any questions? Hearing none, are our commissioners ready to go ahead with one of these motions? No, I'm willing to hear motion 1, 2, or 3.
I move motion number 1, if we can do it that way, so I don't have to read the whole thing to see it.
Second that.
Ms. Melissa, do you understand that motion number
Yeah.
1 is to approve your request? And so I'll ask, we have we have a motion and a second. And any further questions on that motion? Great. So all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the consensus has it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It looks
you.
like you did a great job.
did.
I hope it wasn't
did
too
a great
painful.
job. No, it was not. You did a very nice job.
Great. And so tell your friends and neighbors in the business community that this isn't that bad. We're
Yeah.
not that awful.
Right.
We won't tell you what to do with your building's paint color. So
Perfect.
yeah, we might suggest no purple, but you know.
Yes. I will share. We already have your information on the paperwork that you gave. So after some signatures tonight, we should be good for this next check process. Okay, so we'll be in touch.
Be in touch with me.
Yeah, when it's ready.
All right,
Okay,
perfect. Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night. Good night. All right, great, we get ready to move on to new business, and this is for 59 West Main Street. Design input on paint color. Ms. Thorne, would you like to present that?
Sure, I don't have a staff report for this project, but we met with the owner and the management representative on the other day, and they were interested in some of the programs that we have available with the city at this building and looking to invest in this building. And they're not able to be here tonight, but I think the hope was that they could start conversations on recommendations on paint colors.
So I can say, just out of our experience, keeping the sills white and the windows white is something that is pretty much a standard in town with historic structures. And that's not really the modern approach these days. Right now, the modern approach is to blacken those windows, and that really is contrary to a historic district. And you know, honestly, 5 years ago, before that style came in, I would have said historic district really doesn't comment on colors, especially since it's reversible. But that blackening of the sills really is counter to our community.
Are the windows in good shape so that they're not thinking about replacing them, they just need to paint them? Or they haven't gotten that far into it yet?
Not that far into it yet. We didn't discuss the condition of the windows. It was more just the brick part, the largest part of
They
it.
look like replacements to me anyway, to be honest. They don't really look, of course, you gotta be closer to know.
Mhm.
Was this building just sold? Was it sold or was it the previous owner?
Mm,
She said she's owned this and a couple other properties, and this is the last property she has.
okay. For a while.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
other than that, color choice we usually leave to the homeowners, we don't dictate. But we would suggest something muted, you know. You don't really want a building that stands out because its color is jarring. So, you know, we have a variety of colors in town going from grays to blues to, you know, greens and yellows and whites. And honestly, she could take inspiration from her neighbors, and if she wants the building to pop, maybe not pick the same color as her neighbor, but not a color that's gonna make you stop traffic. You know, that's a busy corner. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, my personal taste is for something very muted, I wouldn't even go with blue or something like that, I tend to go more
I think grays.
either a very light gray or even white, which is what, if you painted a brick building historically, it was usually white. This one we know wasn't painted originally. From, there's a very early, like late 1860s stereograph at the Historical Society, you can see the Montour House and it's unpainted, so we know originally it wasn't painted.
What if somebody was going to paint? When were brick structures, when did they start to paint them?
They've been painted for a very long time. The hard part about brick is you find out that every 10 years they're spalled off because the brick breathes. Brick needs to breathe.
Well, and sometimes they painted them originally if they used a really cheap grade of brick and needed to protect it. So some brick buildings were painted originally, some weren't.
Is that gonna interfere, like painting it now and then dealing with other things later, is that gonna be hard to match or?
Shouldn't be
It
difficult.
depends on how.
So they just wanna paint, they just wanna paint the brick, they don't wanna paint the facade thing?
I don't know that you could.
Right now, the focus is just to paint so that they can remediate and fill those spaces upstairs. So they're just working on just phasing essentially this project.
I mean,
Eventually, they wanna work on other areas, but
yeah, the color that's on it is fairly muted and it's fairly neutral, so that would be okay, but if they wanted to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that you could paint those wooden shapes on the front there, I'm not sure they would take paint
Well, I
very
didn't
well.
think so, but I just was wondering what they had.
Well, it depends, they've probably been pressure treated and stuff, so I'm not sure how good they would look when you
I
paint
think
them.
that would be,
I think they would just soak in paint.
yeah.
So
I don't even know what kind of condition they're in, somebody'd have to really get up there and look at them and see if they're okay or if they've been up there since the mid-1970s, they could be in pretty rough shape.
one historical option
mhm,
is that, you know, because the painting issue happens so frequently, every 10 years, you're stuck painting brick. At my house, they painted the brick red. And so then when it pops, it doesn't look so bad because it kind of matches the undulating of the brick.
I've seen that where people paint the brick to look like brick.
That's at my house on the sleeping porch of the first floor, which was enclosed pretty early. It was painted brick red on the brick and then sort of white lined
They even
on the
line
mortar. They even lined the mortar. But
which is
again,
like a crazy expensive way to
That'd
do
be
that.
crazy expensive way to do it. But it was almost like a chalk line, you know, like a paint chalk line. It was really thin and very precise. I don't know how they managed to apply that to the building. Like a white piece of string or something, you know?
I think a stormy gray.
All
Middle,
right, well, we look forward to seeing how this facade gets improved and hopefully it's part of the facade improvement program.
yes, we're definitely encouraging them to come back and fill out those applications, and also to reach out for anything like on-site discussions if they're interested.
Sure, and any kind of assistance we can offer, you know, we've seen a few things come and go,
Yeah.
so we can be helpful.
What condition is the interior and do they need a lot of work in there or it's pretty much move-in ready?
Some additional work, yeah, to
So you
see
might come to us then for a
How
10%.
many painting and business
Mhm.
fitting up?
Is it vacant now, or do they have tenants now?
They have some tenants upstairs. I actually don't know. And I looked at Joe, we were met with them. There's no one on the first floor. So they're looking to, you know, part of the phasing. So first residences, make sure they're good to go and then fill the vacancies at the bottom.
Well, they could come to us for a tax credit as well for interior.
And if it's a business, would they be eligible, I mean, besides the state, would they be eligible for federal grant also for business if they take care of if they rent it out to business?
Any part of it, even the rentals upstairs are commercial.
Ah.
They're all eligible for the federal tax credit, and I would get that as long as that's available, that's 20%.
Yeah.
And state, 20%, and us, 10. That should be helpful. And I can help, I've gone through the paperwork.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. All right, on to the Historic District Commission's implementation plan. And I think Ms. Thorne might have some news.
I don't have a lot of news on the 250th activities, to be honest.
No, the
Jumping ahead, implementation plan, we have the contract ratified. So that was shared out today, I got a copy of that. So we can finally officially move forward with our contractor. Very grateful for that coming through today. The state has been incredibly patient, the contractor's been incredibly patient. And I think everybody's just ready to move forward.
I'm done. I've been stacking up resources. I actually thought it had been approved earlier, so I started sending stuff directly through to the contractor that I thought would be contributing to this implementation plan, and then I got the word, oh, it's not official yet. So now that I've heard it's official, I'll start sending through more stuff, more resources.
Okay, yes, that's great.
And you always get the CC.
Yes, I appreciate that.
There's
Actually, can you start to include Joe?
absolutely,
We can give you that information as well.
yeah, absolutely. Poor Joe.
Don't take me off. Just to also include, or even just planning at westminstermd.gov comes to everybody. It would be the one-stop shop.
The thing I like about including you guys is that every once in a while I run across something interesting, a little historical tidbit, and I'll ask Melissa, will you share that with the historic, commission? And I don't know, I think it keeps y'all more engaged to have little things popping up. So,
Would agree.
great. Anything else on the implementation plan we should catch?
No, and I don't want to overwhelm or obviously task anybody, but just something to keep in mind. If there are any other items that you know of from your wish list on the implementation that you want to start working towards, you can just let us know and we'll add it to the agenda and we can start talking about it.
Absolutely. Great. Okay, thank you. Nation's 250th. So let's do a double check. How are we doing on street signs?
So we got a lot done last month.
And did.
I know, which is great. To jump down, the historic district entrance signs, we physically marked. So we're hoping to have an installation date soon. So that will actually that'll be officially completed for the first two. The street signs, we're still working with a company for them, and we have learned that the price has gone way down since we limited the scope. We're just now working through that extra bit as far as the longer style that we've discussed that is at Center. We actually have quite a few of them. Center Street, Manchester Avenue, and those to make sure we can get a good design on that space. So, nothing's been purchased yet. We're still working through talking to Mark about just making sure who needs to have this before them to okay it before we purchase. So I think I see that being an early January purchase.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. What's next? Oh, you want me to talk about the commemoration plaque for the Revolutionary Era homes? No, we're still working on it.
Sure. So we had gone through, we'll just touch on, so the downtown preparation, we talked about the flags, that we would like to order on top of whatever the county or whatever the municipalities are gonna do to order the county logo. We'll also make sure to get some Westminster ones. For the commemoration flags, I've reached out to a company for an idea on the pricing. I haven't gotten the prices back yet. And I went back to our notes on the actual wording of it, and what we had discussed was maybe having one set of language for every building
Yes.
to make it more cost efficient, and it's still everybody's part of the same thing. This building, oh, I didn't bring it with me. And it's pulling out, this building is designated as for the commemoration of the nation's 250th, or the United States Sesquicentennial. I think that sounds nice. I question one more time if that's what we want.
Definitely.
Okay,
I think we couldn't do it any other way. We had to customize it for each building, the cost would be exorbitant.
right, I know, and that's the only thing. And I think the question that we will get from the homeowners is, my building wasn't here at the revolution. My building wasn't here 250 years ago.
I'm willing to go talk to anybody. There's only 30 of them. I'll go knock on every door.
I think there's actually only 15 when I double checked the list today. But so, which is even better, I guess, for that, but
I will talk to
Okay.
every homeowner. I will go knock on their door because I live in that neighborhood. It
Yeah.
gives me an excuse to go say hello.
when we had talked, Kathy, you had mentioned an era of time. Is there any way to weave in the actual era that those buildings were built in? Like 1838, this building was here, like do the
That
whole
makes it-
range?
That makes it customized again.
But it would be the whole range for everybody. So the pick, whatever the first building was on the oldest building on that
Yeah,
list.
we had a date range.
I think we talked of like 1764, which is the establishment of Westminster, through like 1814, which is the end of the War of 1812.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, but I'm looking at you because I wanna make sure I
I think
really
that's
said that.
what
You could
we,
say 18th to 19th century.
Right?
I think we wanted to say through the war 1812 because really, that really was the end of England's hope to get us back as a colony. And that honestly was the end of the Revolutionary War. We had to have kind of a second war to seal the deal.
Yeah,
So that's why we feel comfortable in saying that.
okay. So when we get the letters out to the residences, I will communicate that with you so we can work through any challenges or anything that comes
Yeah,
up.
because I think I'm happy as a neighbor to go around and follow up on that letter and say, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And if I don't know, I'll find out.
well, I want to know about the tax credits and things while you're talking to them. So if
Absolutely.
they wanted to do anything else for their buildings, well, it's going on.
But the good thing about the 250th celebration is that they themselves don't consider the limits to be 250 years old.
Mhm.
They consider the whole swath of history. I mean, there are whole states that weren't in the Union out in the Midwest and the far West. And yet Alaska can participate in the 250th, just because it wasn't a state until what, 1949 or something, 1948. It's considered it can celebrate.
Mhm.
All right, good. I was gonna say something about the Liberty Tree plaque. I had heard, and I may be completely wrong, but there was some sort of plaque they were willing to provide with that tree. Did you miss an opportunity to grab a free plaque?
Never heard about that opportunity.
Could you just double check? We may not have to pay for a plaque.
Yeah, so we had gotten that from Champ Zundrum out at the Western Maryland, what is the organization? I'm trying to think, the Maryland, so some sort of Maryland tree organization. And they, so maybe they have a budget for, I don't know. I mean, we paid for the trees, but
I would double check because everybody's getting on this tree bandwagon. And I have heard that plaques come with the trees, and I thought, I don't think we got our plaque. So maybe that came out after the trees were, we jumped on real quick.
we did.
You were very quick on the trigger, which is wonderful.
Right.
But I'm hearing about other people getting a plaque going with that tree, and I thought, maybe
Yeah,
we
could you
want,
look into that and see if you hear, or if you talk to your network?
I can, but I think you might be better off going through who you got it from.
Absolutely. I would just be surprised if they were offering it and hadn't mentioned it previously.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's a typical plaque that just explains what the tree is, but I thought, well, if we're part of a larger movement of Liberty trees and everybody else has a plaque, why don't we have one that looks like it, you know?
Yeah, I reached out to him recently about Mount Airy because they were interested in some more trees. And then I heard, I think through the Heart of the Civil War Heritage area, there was an additional opportunity if you had a tie to the Revolution.
Mhm.
That they were looking for those specific spots to add trees. So, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe because of that, they're offering plaques. We'll look into it.
I think honestly, they're, I suggested either the tea house where William Winchester's house is. And I also suggested Durbin House. I think the tea house is actually one step out of the Heart of the Civil War Heritage area. I think the city is their boundary, and I know the tea house is just outside of it. But I do know the Durbin House is within their boundary, and I thought, there's so much going on there. That is a Revolutionary War house,
Mhm.
that it makes sense, the city accepted a tree there. I'm not sure whether or not, the city's been approached for that, or, there are other places in the county than Westminster, although it's very hard for me to accept that.
Well, and another one that's close is the historic Shriver Graveyard, David Shriver there. Would be a great place to have one of those Liberty trees. Or even Westminster Cemetery, because you got William Winchester.
So we looked into that and the cemetery board considered it, but it's just, these trees are huge and they drop a lot of leaves. And we currently don't have a problematic leaf program. We would have to develop a program for maintenance of leaves.
Trust me, it's gonna be a while before that's gonna be a big issue.
I know,
Looking at the size of the tree that's out there,
yeah,
you're not gonna have to worry about it for a while.
but they do actually grow to 60 feet
Yeah,
tall.
they do.
And their span of root mass is huge, and that's a lot of graves for us to say no to, close the door on. So we looked at a number of corners we could put it on, to get the root mass to go somewhere else, like under the road and under the pavement or something. And we just kept saying, we're just not comfortable. Our livelihood is underground. We just don't want to lose it to the root mass. So we felt like the Durbin House, which is surrounded by woods, would be a good place.
So my contact was with the Allegheny County Forestry Board. Isn't that interesting? You would think it would be Anne Arundel County or something, but that's who it was, and we did get a certificate along with the tree, like a certificate of something you could print out or use it as design. So
Got its adoption papers with it.
exactly. So we'll see if there's anything else.
Well, I could email Liz and ask her,
Okay.
because that's the context I think I would have seen these plaques.
Okay. Yeah. It'd be nice if we had something similar to match what other areas had.
And I'll be sure and CC you. So you're in the loop. Or
I mean, and
Joe.
I also like what we already have created.
I do too. I like that.
So not necessarily saying we won't do that. So
Yeah.
we'll looking at all the options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just to me seemed like, oh, this is an easy do. It's already prefabricated. Fabricated. That's the actual word. Okay. So event programming, I have a little bit of an update. So, I think I shared with Melissa that we did get the Patriots Trail, first marker in the state of Maryland for the Westminster Cemetery.
Nice.
And it's in our maintenance shed right now. But we're not gonna share it online because we're gonna do an unveiling. The Sons of the American Revolution were sponsors with the William G. Pomeroy Foundation. And they got us the sign and the pole. as part of their nationwide Patriots Trail. It's first in the state of Maryland, although I'm a little worried by the time we actually get it in the ground and have a celebration. Somebody might beat us to it, but we got the first one. And
That's your press release now.
yeah, I feel like doing that now, but we don't want it, we want it unveiled, so what we're thinking about is, even though we have it right now in hand, we're a little concerned about unveiling it during the Christmas season. I mean, this is gonna take us a month. Get it in the ground and do the unveiling, have a party, it's gonna be a month. And the more I talk with the SAR for us to get a color guard and get the muckety mucks we need to get from the SAR, the DAR, and the Pomeroy Foundation, all these folks have to be invited. And then we'll of course want our city participants, the mayor and, people from the county level, maybe even the state level, like we did for Belgrove Square. That's all, that needs a month, like people need a month on their calendars. So we were thinking about doing it, maybe the first weekend of May for Preservation Week. And I've already found out one of our speakers is not available, so I need to talk with the SAR and really nail down and save the date. Right now, our working day is May 3rd, Sunday at 2:00. I still need to communicate with them and make sure that that's still working for the folks that they're coordinating. A lot of pieces, but the Belgrove Square event that we had on the 20th of September was a wonderful practice round for this kind of commemoration.
We did with the Pomeroy Foundation one for Mary Shellman, they sent all their people, so.
They did, and state of Maryland people.
Yeah, so that maybe their schedule is gonna be more important than our schedule.
That's why we're thinking of putting it off till the spring.
Oh, definitely.
And giving us plenty of months to
Yeah.
etch it in stone. Yep, we have the Pomeroy people. In that case, the pass-through was the state. And this time it's CSAR, but still it's, everybody is important to get on stage and, take a bow. So don't share this with anyone, it's a big secret.
Would you want to do it as part of the Memorial Day celebration you have at the cemetery every year?
We are really not interested in that because, the Memorial Day celebration is already
A big deal.
10,000 pieces that don't always attenuate well together. And I feel like it'll be up by then, and May is Preservation Month nationwide. But I just feel like it might take away from acknowledging these three patriots. And hopefully during the Memorial Day Foundation or event, they'll acknowledge the three patriots. That would be great.
Or you could do it in April on Patriots Day which is the day of the Boston Marathon, but they give you a
Little buffer.
Revolutionary War book to tie it to.
So anyway, we're still negotiating and, this is a joint project, so I have to make sure our partners are all happy. So. All right, so I just wanted to share that.
Great.
And then of course we have our items completed. And we're happy with that. So let's move on then to the Historic District Commission and public comments. And I will just go down the list. Ms. Amador, do you have anything for the good of the Historic District? Nothing to report. All right, Ms. Beatty? Nothing to report. Okay, well, I will report about last night's party at the Wakefield Valley Center. It was the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area's annual meeting. And I was there, Mr. Depot was there, Mr. Barber was there on behalf of the city. And I gotta say, that was a fabulous event. It was lots of fun. And we were the inaugural event for that new center. And we got to go through the Durbin House, which was also a lot of fun. The thing I like, and maybe I'm unique in this, it's not quite done, which is great because I can see the stone wall behind some of the piping and some of the doors aren't quite ajar, and I can see behind the corners. So it's like the building is a little ripped up so you can see behind the walls. And I love that. But I'm sure that in a month or two, everything's gonna be perfect.
It will keep it partially exposed. Sometimes they do that. You can see like in the corner or something.
I don't think that's the intention. I think the intention is to make it look perfect. And yeah, I think most people want that. I'm one of the exceptions who likes to look
That's
behind the
too.
corners. You do, you like to
Yeah,
see behind
Just
it.
a little bit, I've seen it before, it's like,
So, and that building's looking great. It's looking really fabulous.
pictures of the event.
I did, and it's on my Facebook. So take a look at that. The food was fabulous. The Carroll County was the host essentially. So we had Carroll County vendors who had things like cider from Boggers and dessert from Boggers, and we had the Carroll County beekeepers had honey available for everybody to take home as a little gift, and it was a real celebration of farmlands. That was the whole thing, was farmlands. So the Al Spoiler, who was the MPT host of Maryland Farms or
I
Farms and
think I know
Homes,
what you're talking, that program, I think I know what you're talking.
started out as a radio program and became a regular.
I remember the
TV
TV program,
program.
yeah.
So he was the host and he talked a lot about his 50 years with Maryland Public Television and farms in Carroll County. So that was fun. And I have to say, everyone looked good. The city of Westminster looked fabulous with this new event. Abby Gruppener and her staff were all there to be really helpful, and that was wonderful. We had a great crowd, a good chunk of them from Carroll County. And I just have to say, all in all, it was a really fun inaugural event for that center. And I would really recommend it if you find a way to get in there, because that's gonna be a great, wonderful spot for gatherings.
What's the, how many people can you hold, what's the max?
Easily, it looks like 250, but
Wow.
I'm just guessing.
Is that like in addition to the old house, or is that?
It's this old center.
Oh,
The house is separate. What, Melissa, you know?
190,
nice.
because we just updated the Carroll County Visitors Guide for next year with that number. So
So is this a new building or is this the old country club building?
it was the renovated country club.
That you would know it. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful and the acoustics are great.
Well, it was a nice facility, so.
I remember wandering around out there for runs and stuff, and there was this house, and I didn't realize that was an original old house there. But I didn't see. So that old house is, that they were working on it.
Yeah, the Heart of the Civil Heritage area gave 3 consecutive years of grants at $100,000 a piece to renovate it, and the city has matched it and far more. So it's been a dream to get that going for a long time. And it's very, very historic. Mr. Durbin, who owned that house, originally was one of the original founders of the Methodist movement, the Strawbridge Shrine.
Okay, which is down, yeah.
Yeah, so super cool. Super. Is it technically within the historic district?
Probably not.
I mean, not the district, the city.
zone.
It is a city. You're
We
talking
should
about,
give them a plaque. They're definitely colonial.
I have no idea what the date of the Durden house is.
It's definitely colonial.
I don't
17.
have that information.
They need
I
a
only
plaque.
had one that.
All right, we'll talk afterwards. They need one of our plaques on that building.
We'll add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
Are they on the MIHP?
I'm sure. I am sure of that. I'll look it up. Absolutely certain. It's just, I hadn't thought about it because it's not in the district. But that's okay, we were willing to give plaques away for the tea house, and that's not even in the city property. So, all right, so that's it for me and my activities. Mr. Atkins is new, so he's probably.
No drama. Yeah.
So welcome Joe
Yeah.
to the commission and liaison to the city.
Oh, he's gonna be our new liaison.
Yeah, we're here. I'll be here to help along the way. And I just want to have one update to share. It's really just to let you all know we're waiting to hear back from the State Department of Housing and Community Development on our facade funding.
Mhm.
If any award is made, we should know by December. Sometimes it's around the end of this month. And if that's the case, if we have additional funds, we will be bringing them hopefully in a large chunk in February. So I'm sorry, in March, because February would be the due date. So if you guys could be at the ready for early next year, to hopefully to have a competitive process, we'll have, probably new this year, we'll have like a tablet for the ranking and grading of applications. So we can use the funds in the best way.
So that does bring up a topic we should probably talk about. Normally, we skip December as a meeting date unless there's pressing business.
Okay.
If someone has a tax credit or something they want us to review, of course, we're available. We would not want the public inconvenienced. But as a normal thing, we sort of skip December. How do you feel about it this year?
I mean, yeah, I'm good with what you said. If we wanna skip December because there's just so much going on, I'm good with that, but if somebody has some pressing thing, I would absolutely find a date to meet and review whatever.
I'm fine with that. Is that okay with the city staff? Do you look at that? Our next meeting date, then we would schedule would be January 7th. That's the first Wednesday in January. And so we're well clear of New Year's and all that. This is how we'll stand, but we are at ready and willing to be helpful if something in the beginning of December comes up.
Okay.
All right, with that, we will move to adjournment. Thank you very much, everyone.